Erica from Crypto Soul. I'm back with another interview on the Erica Show. Today in episode 26, I'm joined here by Min Kim, founder of the Icon project. It's been such a long time since we last met, and I'm so happy to have Min here. Min, welcome to the show. Hi.
Hello. Thanks for having me. This is great.
Yes.
Yeah, I mean, it's great talking to you. We've been talking for what, like 15 minutes already, so
to get it all started and catch up. It's been such a long time, and we're like old friends now, so it's it's very good to see you on screen, and also to hear about what Icon's been doing. Yeah, it's one of, it's definitely a project that I feel attached to, and so yeah, it's good to have you here. Thanks so much.
Good to see you. All right, let's get started.
Yeah, we have many things to cover. I mean, I'm sure you've seen Twitter, but there's been so many questions and comments. So I'm, blown away by the interest, by the Icon community. So before we go in, why don't we do a short intro of yourself for people who don't know Icon and you? So let's go ahead.
Sure. Just to give you a quick background, my name is Min Kim. I am the founder of the Icon project, and I sit on the Icon Foundation board. I've been working in finance and technology for over 15 years, cryptocurrency space for now, 4 or 5 years. So we were kind of joking that we are crypto OGs in Korea.
Yes.
So we go way back. So my background, I was formerly in finance. I was a banker, traditional finance, and I worked in technology for a few years and then made my way to becoming a fintech executive at Daily Financial Group. I believe that's where I met you, Erica.
Yes.
We talked a lot back then about the future of crypto, and I think a lot of things happened. But so I guess the background story is that's where I started learning about cryptocurrency, blockchain. We acquired a cryptocurrency exchange called Coin1. We got really deep into crypto. I mean, I started reading about, picking up books. Some of the books maybe like Age of Cryptocurrency. I don't know if you know, Digital Gold. There weren't too many books back then.
Right.
Back then I don't think, but now there is a lot. But
right.
And then kind of going through history of cypherpunk movement, I got really deep into it, and of course the Bitcoin white paper. Although I didn't fully understand everything back then, but it was mind blowing just reading through and thinking about the philosophy behind it, and how it can change the world. So and I decided to dedicate myself to the blockchain industry, and Icon project sort of came to be, and I think we could go in more details as we go through this interview.
Sure. So thanks for the background. What inspired you to start the Icon project? I mean, it's such a massive project that I remember even back then, it was I was kind of, I felt wowed by it. And what was the founding story behind it?
Yeah, I mean, to kind of step back, for me, fintech was already disrupting traditional finance. But if you think about it, it was mostly from a user experience perspective. There were neobanks or challenger banks. There's P2P lending or marketplace lending, robo-advisor. These were all, interesting from a user experience perspective. But if you actually, behind the scenes, everything is still, you have to work, or you're connected to a traditional bank or traditional finance. So it is just, a new digital experience wrapped in kind of traditional infrastructure. What blockchain and crypto got, why it got me excited is that, it's much deeper, where it started disrupting the legacy technology or the legacy financial infrastructure. And if you, kind of going a little bit deeper, blockchain and crypto sort of changes how we create, capture, and transfer value. In other words, we are sort of rewiring how we think and perceive money. And in a way, we are all connected by money, right? That's how this world works. We do business, we, do commerce. So, so it's very interesting to think about how money works. But even further, if you think about how we're connected, it goes deeper into how we could change how we work and how we organize as a community or society. So I felt this whole change within me where I wanted to contribute to this industry. I wanted to be a part of this movement. I wanted to kind of go really deep into understanding the technology and working with, building a team where we could do a lot of research and development. So, all in all, I think this whole crypto and blockchain movement really inspired me to do something, and that became the Icon project.
Great, thanks you. Thank you so much. For newbies, right? I think people who have been in the scene for a while, they of course know about Icon, but for people, I think they're still coming in, the newbies are coming in, they're learning about projects that are already here. And how would you describe Icon in a simple sentence, for example, to like a maybe 13-year-old or something who's trying to just grasp the main concepts of the project?
Right. So Icon started as a interchain or interoperability project. So right now we call ourselves the aggregator chain. And although Icon itself is a smart contract platform and a network with its own independent, economy, the main goal for Icon is to facilitate economic activities with other blockchains. So that has always been our end goal. We believe the future is multi-chain with many blockchains, similar blockchains all get, connected and do transactions with each other. So, the way I look at it is very similar to how in the real world, we have independent countries, independent companies, we have different communities where everyone sort of works together, right? So in the blockchain world, we believe the future is multi-chain, where there will be many, many blockchains, for many different purposes, and then we will all connect one way or the other.
Thank you. I think that's a very main concept of Icon. And so in other words, like what core problem is Icon trying to solve? And, are there any competing projects that you consider as competitors? Just curious about what, I guess the major projects like this, they try to solve a core problem. And, what is that problem that you're trying to address?
Right. So it is how a lot of the blockchain platforms are siloed, right? So right now, a lot of the activities are done within Icon. A lot of the economic activities happens only within Icon. I mean, we're starting to see some level of interoperability, but at a value transfer level only. So very, very simple, bridges are created just to create, copies of tokens. Like, for example, like the way some of the Ethereum tokens are currently working on the Binance Smart Chain tokens. And those are, you can move it back and forth from Ethereum to Binance Smart Chain. But there will be many, many uses across different chains. And it's going to make it easier. And we're trying to make it easier to facilitate those type of bridges, but not only for simple value transfer, but being able to do entire smart contract where data could be interoperable as well.
So it's been, with that grand vision, I mean, it's been going through the years, and I think starting in 2017, now it's 2021. How has the project evolved and developed over the years? What are some, I guess, fundamental milestones that you hit on the way? Could you give us a rundown, like what's been happening? Just some things that you remember that are really key milestones.
Yeah, The way I like to think about it is in phases, and just kind of taking a step back, thinking about phase 0. So this is from very beginning. In a way, Icon was born out of enterprise blockchain technology, and we're still working with our partner in Korea to bring enterprise adoption. It's been a very slow process, obviously. I mean, legacy companies are very slow to move into any, new technology, right? It's like I go to my local like pharmacy, CVS, and they're still using like computers from like 20, 30 years ago. Like they never change. So, it's going to take a while for these, enterprises to come through, but, there's a lot of positives that will come out from enterprise adoption in the future, but that is phase 0. We've been working with enterprises and our partners have been working with enterprises from the very beginning. Phase 1 is a lot of experimenting with the public blockchain. So let's just call this like Icon 1.0. And we quickly built a blockchain. We didn't know anything about blockchain when we started. We just did, simple research, got something up and running. We built it quickly with Python, and, we gained a lot of experience and knowledge through, just experimenting. And that also includes like smart contracts. We've done like DAO governance and economic designs. We call this Icon incentive scoring system. We created like version 1 and also like version 2 in that experiment period. And then obviously, like just like everyone else, we've done a lot of dApps. So, we invested in a lot of dApps. We try different, different things and, there, but, most of it didn't work out because this was all an experiment. Phase 2 is we're starting to set the foundation. So we take a lot of the learnings from phase 1, and then we kind of put them together and we start thinking about, okay, how do we create like foundational technologies, something everlasting, something that could continue build. We built a very structural, but at the same time, very modular, I guess, architecture so that, we could see our, blockchain being continued to scale and things like that. So we call this Icon 2.0, and we call it patang. Patang, as you know, in Korean, is just, patang, like foundation.
Oh yes, foundation. Oh, 근본. Okay. Sorry. Yeah.
So so Icon 2.0 is what we're building, and it's going to be very scalable. It's based on Golang, and it's going to be very good for us. We've already built it. We're just doing a data migration at the moment, which should end sometime this summer. And then DAO governance, we've learned a lot the past year or so, and then we're trying to improve it. We're working with other validators to make small changes. And we've created something called CPS, which is a contribution proposal system. This is a DAO fund that is managed by the community to put capital or block rewards towards developing, or contributing to the ecosystem growth. And obviously in phase 2, I would also include things like thinking about like what are some of the dApps that are working at the moment. And of course, like DeFi, NFTs, and so forth are, we're starting to see very strong use cases for those.
Yeah. Wow. Yeah, I heard about CPS, and it sounds amazing. I mean, the experimentation with DAOs is quite, challenging as well. I mean, it's not easy. And I think so what I'm getting the impression is that you have, as phases go by, you've tried with a lot of different, I guess, ideas and trying to, kind of have a holistic approach. Dealing with enterprises and also developing a public chain, and then also DAO, NFT, it's like all big topics, right? And how has that been? It's been, I'm sure it was a little challenging on that end, but I think a lot of, big projects like this, I think, have to go through this, like, I guess limitation of being like holistic, like having to do everything. And what's your take on that? I mean, do you think it was challenging, or I mean, I want to get your personal feedback on your journey there.
Yeah, I mean, it is challenging. I think everyone who is working in this industry is in here because it's challenging. Everything is, we're trying different things, it's experimenting. We're all honestly figuring it out.
That's true.
I forget, I don't know if this was, this wasn't first said by me. A lot of other founders have said this as well. So I completely agree with them. We're all in the same boat. We're all trying to figure out how to apply this amazing technology in different ways. So, and that's been a fun ride. And I think that is something that I hope Icon community or people who are new to this industry understand, is that, a lot of the times, most projects, we have a goal. Our end goal is to make interoperability because we see the direction, we see the future of multi-chain. How we get there, the strategy could be, there could be a wide range of strategies. And we think through this and we pick our poison. We go in different ways and we think about how we could execute and what would be successful for us. And sometimes we're wrong and we need to learn from that and we need to adjust. And I think we've been doing a very good job. I think we get, like every other project, I think criticized sometimes for dropping some projects, but it's just, I think the nature of the industry and the business.
It happens.
So, yeah, it happens. Right.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, I think I really agree that every project does go through this, experimentation phase, and it's really a learning process too for everybody, including myself.
Right.
Everyone's here for this whole new journey. There's no references, right? There's no past successes. It's all like beginning stage for all of us. So yeah, it's great that you're trying a lot of different things with this massive community. So that's really great to see how it's been exploding. Like the community has been like growing so much globally as well. And I was so impressed with how you're, tackling the global community as and I thought, it began as a Korea, I guess, a representative crypto project, a blockchain layer 1 project. And now it's more into a global brand, I think. And are you, we're going to, I guess, address this later, but maybe we can just talk about it now. Are you concentrating on like more on the Korea side or like the global side, or is it kind of simultaneous and you're just trying to have more exposure to both sides? I can't really divide it, but still, I think a lot of people wonder what's the current focus. Yeah.
I mean, yes or no. I think, as you know, we started with, I would say, a bit too much exposure back in 2017. And, we were sort of forced to scale back in Korea. The reason is the regulatory environment made it very difficult. The rules were very unclear. They're still quite unclear. So I say most serious crypto projects, they were quiet or, not, wouldn't make too much noise in Korea.
Not on the radar, per se.
Exactly. Not that we're not, we are definitely on the radar, but trying to be, in a more cautious mode, because, of course, Korea is, it's one of the most toughest markets if you are on the wrong side of regulators or the government. As you can see from, I think Uber is a great example of a company that was just kicked out of Korea because they didn't follow the rules, right? Or there weren't rules, but they executed certain things without full permission. I think that's the key. You don't see that in the US. You could do a lot of things here and more freely, and then if as you grow, of course, there's going to be regulations that come into place, and you sort of need to adjust your business model, your operations to fit that regulatory requirements.
Yes.
In Korea, it's very difficult to do that. Once you get on the bad side, you're sort of driven out of that market, and you don't even get an opportunity to come back. So, and Uber is not the only example. There are many examples where companies try to go into Korea and they just can't survive. Another one I could think of is PayPal. PayPal went into Korea, had to leave. I don't know if they're back yet, but it's just a very, very challenging market to play in. You sort of have to watch yourself. So, I mean, now that I think the rules are becoming clearer, so we're kind of strategically pushing in areas where there are clear rules. And Korea, I mean, don't get me wrong, is a big focus. I mean, outside of Korea, as you mentioned, we've done quite well building a very strong grassroots community. But I myself, I'm personally pushing things like Iconfi. Iconfi is a project or a company actually similar to BlockFi here in the US. Iconfi, we're trying to do everything by the rules and get proper licenses, make sure that we are on the good side of the regulation, and we're doing a strong push in South Korea.
Yeah, I really resonate you on that comment, because I think a lot of projects do stay under the radar, try to at least, because of the regulations front. And you know how the US, SEC statements can be intimidating to some, but in fact, I think that it's actually for the healthier, development, and they do take into account what's happening, and it's not like complete ban or just kick out anything like that. It's more like, I guess, trying to compromise. I think that's an approach that US is taking in terms of regulations. It's more reasonable, it seems like.
Right.
The Korean side is a little bit very, very political, very, as you said, I do understand that point.
Right.
So I guess the context you had to kind of be a little bit more focusing on the global side in order to, not evade, but like just kind of try to minimize as much like friction as possible. I guess that's probably the best way to put it.
Right. I mean, we work with multiple lawyers in different jurisdictions, and our lawyers are very, if I tweet something that I could get in trouble with, my lawyers just email me directly, and like things like that, right? It's I mean, we have very good attorneys, we trust them, and I mean, we pay good money to our legal advisors for those type of reasons. Like we got to make sure that we stay out of trouble. Of course, we try our best to kind of push the boundaries, obviously. But that's but I think we try to do everything by the books.
Yes, and I'm going to talk about the tweet that you deleted recently about the ISIC listing on Coin1. People were wondering like why did you tweet that and delete that? Is that part of this I guess advice from the lawyers too?
Yes, no comment.
Okay, no comment. But I can see why, Coin1 is special, I guess. Yeah, I mean, okay, no comment. It can be a little sensitive on your end. But I think a lot of people are curious, because I think once a founder, Twitter is very public, right? I think a lot of people capture what is on Twitter and they retweet or they capture screen somehow, and it becomes a huge issue if it gets deleted, because like they're wondering why it's deleted, and it just creates a huge, complications. So
it's not. The answers are simple. I think the Twitter community likes to make big deal out of little things. I don't think our community made a big deal out of this, but anyway, we have a great community. Very understanding, and it's all good. We all have good intentions.
Of course, of course. I was just curious. I think a lot of people are just wondering, on good intentions, of course. Let's talk a little bit about interoperability. A lot of people are wondering, like, when is interoperability with other chains expecting to happen? I mean, what are your plans regarding that? And I guess, like, how will the utility of ICX, like the token itself, increase or change as these interoperability partnerships comes into play? Does it really affect anything? Just curious about that interaction.
Sure. So our interoperability solution is called BTP, stands for Blockchain Transmission Protocol. The very first version, BTP 1.0, the testnet is expected to launch by May. Don't quote me on that, but I believe by May.
Okay.
I'm losing memory here. Hard to keep track of all the dates.
Yes, of course.
But yeah, I mean, it's been great. We already have a handful of blockchains that we're collaborating with. We already announced Polkadot, where we are working directly with a few parachains, 4 of them, I believe: Edgeware, Moonbeam, Akala, and Prism. Yeah,
I love all of them.
So yeah, we're very closely working with these teams to integrate BTP to Polkadot. BTP 1.0 is going to be a very simple value transfer, where BTP 2.0 is going to be much more robust. It's going to allow full contract interoperability. I think I already kind of mentioned this, but in order for us to have BTP 2.0, we sort of need to work in phases. We need Icon 2.0 full migration to be completed in order for us to implement BTP 2.0. So it'll get there, hopefully by the end of this year, but we're doing our best to kind of launch that as soon as possible. Your question about like utility, in short, BTP requires use of token pairs. So for example, if it's bridge between Icon and Polkadot, you need, ICX has to be used by default. And just the utility wise, it increases, more activities within the network. Maybe getting it a little bit deeper into the token economic side. And this part is where I think what differentiates Icon and what makes, what we've been praised by, different third-party developers whenever they hear about BTP is the token economics. And whenever, I want to try to simplify this as much as possible, but whenever there's a BTP transaction, it requires a fee. Let's say, between Polkadot and ICX, depending on which direction, but, let's say, BTP would require, dot fees. The dot fees will get aggregated and it will go into a pool. And this dot tokens will be auctioned off to ICX holders. So if you hold ICX, you have the ability to purchase dot at a discount to the market price. It depends on the market price, but I think ICX holders will be able to get some discount from these arbitrage. So while ICX holders benefit from this discount, on the other side, the ICX that is used to purchase DOT would go into the CPS, the fund that I mentioned earlier, where the community manages this fund. So that money will be used for further community, contributions and development, or it could also get burned. So, all of that kind of token economic side, it is, we believe it's going to be very, very beneficial to the Icon network. Wow,
that's a very good token economics over there. And talking about, the DAO, I mean, CPS is great. I think I've seen some articles on it. It's like a really good initiative. And so BalancedDAO is, I think a lot of people are interested in BalancedDAO, and why many people are curious, like, why was there a delay? I mean, there are many delays in like many products, but just to clarify on certain ends, and when do you think it'll launch? Can you describe what it is, just to give you people some background? That would be great to introduce BalancedDAO for us.
Sure. So first of all, I think there's always sort of a misunderstanding that me, the Icon Foundation, is spearheading every project that is on the Icon network, which is not true. BalancedDAO is actually a collaboration between various P-reps. Yes, there is one member from the Icon team that is working with that with that group to build BalancedDAO, but I don't directly work on BalancedDAO. Actually, I'm very far removed from it. But for this interview's purpose, I will do my best to try to give some update. But to go back to your main question, the delay, I believe, was more due to testing. I could be wrong. I believe it was more due to testing, just to make sure the security isn't compromised. They wanted to do more testing just to make sure that they're on the safer side and make sure that they don't make any errors, right? So I think trust is very important. So they thought extra weeks of testing would give them more confidence when it comes to code. Of course, the contract has been audited. So we actually helped audit we have a fund to help these projects get audited just to make sure that it is as safe as we can get it. So I think that was a great reason why there was a delay. But in this industry, I mean, you and I know, like, I think there are 9 out of 10 projects always get delayed. So I don't think it's it is sort of what it is. It's very difficult to get everything on time. And I think we also learned from experience that it is better to be safe when it comes to DeFi products, or when it comes to just the blockchain updates as well.
Sure.
With that said, I guess BalancedDAO is, by the way, I mean, you're absolutely right that DAO is very important. We're 100% committed to DAO. Icon itself is a DAO network. Every applications that are built on top of Icon is currently a DAO network. We believe in full decentralization. I mean, we're a bit idealistic, but at the same time, we like to stick to the ethos of the blockchain and cryptocurrency philosophy. But BalancedDAO is extremely interesting. It takes some good parts of some of the existing technologies. For example, MakerDAO is one, Uniswap is another one. So it takes different elements of, good parts of DeFi, and they try to put it together in a very sensible manner. So BalancedDAO facilitates creating or minting a stablecoin with ICX. So you deposit ICX, and that you could mint a balanced dollar, which could be used throughout the Icon network. So that's sort of the main part of it. But at the same time, Balance also provides a swap function where you could trade different tokens, and of course the balanced dollar is going to be a big part of this transaction or swap process.
So you said you're not directly involved in BalancedDAO, and it's such a wide network that then I'm curious, and contrary, what are you currently focused on? What are your current interests, and anything that you're particularly passionate about in the Icon ecosystem?
Yeah. It's a very good question. I don't think, I was actually thinking about somehow doing an interview just focused on like what is my day-to-day activities, like what am I focused on. But there's just so much happening in cryptocurrency, right, in the blockchain world. But there's so much even happening within Icon that it's very difficult for me to be up to date with everything. I barely have any time to experiment with other blockchains. I love playing around with new toys, new blockchain. I'm doing, I test different platforms, NFTs. That's why I'm here. I love playing around with new technology and things like that. So I mean, what I'm focused on right now, I could only put enough time for a few things. One is running the foundation. So what that means mainly is I deal with a lot with hiring. I make sure that I look for areas where there are bottlenecks, and I try to fill those roles with good team members. I try to restructure some team members, put them in different responsibilities. I do performance interviews. I do a lot of one-on-ones, making sure our team and our partners, our vendors are very happy, and just want to make sure that they are fully motivated to work hard and well compensated. Big part of being, sort of the head of a project is those boring operational administrative work that honestly I don't enjoy doing. But it's something that just has to get done because it is
very important.
There are a couple projects that I'm working on. One is I'm not full-time on it, obviously. I don't have the full capacity to be working on it, but it's Icon Phi. I think I told you earlier, it's the block Phi of Korea or Asia. We have a very strong management team, operational team, trading team that is working 24/7 and thinking about that product. I'm more of an advisor and person who kind of sticks my nose in, making sure that it's going in the right direction, it gets the right connection. But I do spend considerable amount of time helping this team out and making sure that we're going in the right direction. The second one is a STO project that we've been working on for almost maybe, I wouldn't say a year, but about maybe half a year, maybe a little bit more than that. It is a real estate related project, and we've been dying to kind of move this project forward, and a lot of the components are already completed. It's ready to go. We're excited about it. The only problem is that I don't know if you know, but in the US, the real estate market right now is just crazy. It's crazy right now. So we're sort of waiting for the market to either cool down or to be less volatile. This whole COVID situation was a curveball for all of us. So,
sure.
We're just kind of taking it. I have other responsibilities, obviously, to focus on. So kind of putting in my, back burner. But we're dying to share more information. We're dying to get things more, push things forward. We're still very hopeful that we will be able to launch this within this year. So fingers crossed.
So the STO project is mainly based in the US. Are you targeting?
Yes, it is in the US.
Awesome. I'm expecting interesting news from you this year. Maybe we can do an update later on.
I would love to. I would love to. I'm gonna call you up and we're gonna talk about this. It's very. I'm super pumped about this. There's only like so much of my time that I could focus on things, and I come from traditional finance world. I love where DeFi is going. I'm trying to combine a lot of these elements into like traditional finance. I feel like if we do this right, it's going to be the value proposition's there, everything is there. Like I'm putting my own money in this because it's something that I would like to invest in. So a lot of, I don't want to get everyone's hopes up too much, but as you can see, I am quite excited.
Very excited. Yeah, of course. I mean, new projects always, increase expectation, and that's not natural. And I think the SGO project will be, super amazing. Can't wait to hear about it in the near future. And talking about COVID, right? I think a lot of people were asking, like, is there a possibility for Icon to be involved in vaccine passports? And
that's a very good question.
There's a possibility, right? Why not?
Yeah. So so I work for the Icon Foundation, and I have my partners. I don't know if you met JH and Jay. You know Jay, right?
Yeah, of course.
They work at Icon Loop, so we work together as partners, but we still have arm's distance. And they're in Korea, I'm in the US right now, so sure. I seldom get updates. Like, I mean, these days it's been extremely difficult to get updates because of there's so much going on. But honestly, I haven't gotten an update about this like vaccine passport. I don't know where this question came from. I think there was like an article on it, but I can't recall. But let me just kind of speculate here, okay? I don't work on this project, so I could speculate here with you.
Okay, let's speculate together. All right.
So I mean, because Icon Loop is doing a COVID tracking with Jeju Island, which is, from what I hear, like working out very well. I think there are like daily active users are in like hundreds of thousands at the moment. I actually know people who are in Jeju right now, who's using the Icon Loop app, and they're doing COVID tracking. Yeah, it's really cool. And they tell me like, oh yeah, like they've been using this app for like months, and they just realized that it's Icon Loop created this app. And
that's cool.
I tell them like Icon is used when you sign up. The Icon network, the public chain, is used partially for that app, and they're like kind of blown away because they had no idea. But I mean, I think it's the world that we live in today. COVID tracking is something that Icon Loop has built an expertise. So I think Icon Loop working on a vaccine passport, I think makes complete sense. But I'm going to put on my skeptic hat. I'm going to be very skeptical because, I think the whole vaccine passport idea is a head scratcher for me. I just don't fully understand. Did you get vaccinated yet?
I did not. I'm unvaccinated. Yes.
I mean, I think in the US we need to speed it up because people are they love going out and meeting people. So
exactly.
So I got my vaccine shot, my first one last week. I'm getting another one in a month. So yay! I'm like,
how are you feeling?
There.
You okay?
I feel good. I feel good.
Okay, good.
No symptoms. So
good.
So far, so good.
Good. Awesome.
But they give you this paper card where they sign it, and I guess it's supposed to be used as evidence that you got vaccinated. And I think that's supposed to be sort of like a vaccine passport here in the US. I don't actually know where this is going to be used, and like a digital version of this would make things convenient, but I just cannot see something like this working in the US. I mean, US is somewhere people refuse to wear masks, right? Like people have hard time just wearing a simple mask. People carrying around a vaccine passport to get into establishments, like I just don't see that happening here. So I'm very skeptical. Korea, maybe a little bit more, but I mean, I could see it working. But I just feel like once vaccine gets rolled out, it's gonna move through the process very quickly. In the US, we have like 350 million people, and we're I forget what percentage we are, but we're, things are moving along very fast. In Korea, it's 50 million people, and it's much more dense. I feel like everyone's going to get vaccinated quite soon. Like once they get the vaccine, it's going to get rolled out very, very quickly. Especially with like Korea's, medical system is amazing. I could totally see, vaccine passport being obsolete in like a month. So I don't know. I just see it working.
Okay, well, so I'm in Vietnam, and nobody's vaccinated here. So people are increasingly becoming vaccinated, but the speed is very, very slow. And what I feel like, so when people want to come into Vietnam, they probably need a vaccinated, like a proof of vaccination, in order to avoid quarantine, 2-week quarantine at a facility. And maybe that's when, like, I guess for countries that are really strict on, getting people in the country for several months, I would guess. I think that's when that would kind of come in handy, where you can just like literally swipe or something, and then you could kind of show up. Okay, I'm okay. Right.
But like, I think that will work, but then you got to sort of standardize like the passport amongst different countries, just like a regular passport, right?
That's true.
That's just not gonna happen.
No. Don't across all countries. No, it's not gonna happen. So internationally, it's not gonna be very efficient. It's gonna just take time, and it's gonna probably finish. Project's gonna finish when the COVID is finished. So it's probably gonna take a lot of time. But it's a good effort. It's a good initiative, though. It's a good idea, I would guess. Okay, thanks for that. S-Coin project. I would guess that Icon Loop is the best person to answer this question as well.
Yes, I have. It's not just Icon Loop. These are good questions. So I'm not hating on the community. I love our community. They're very inquisitive, but I say this a lot through through my Twitter, and I think through our newsletter, through different, channels. But, I think people are a little too hopeful to get updates. Icon Loop is a service provider to the government, different governments. There's many different government branches, and Seoul Metropolitan is just one of them.
Yep.
But the thing is, like Seoul Metropolitan controls when they want to make announcement, when they want to give updates to the public. Icon Loop has no authority. I don't have any authority to give updates on, Seoul Metropolitan's news. So I think on that part, hopefully our community understands that, update, not giving an update doesn't mean that we're not involved. There's a lot happening in the space. It's just that as a technology provider, Seoul Metropolitan is a client of Icon Loop, and Icon Loop cannot give updates until Seoul Metropolitan gives permission or decides to do it themselves.
And that's a good point, because like actually, when the mayor changes, for example, the entire administration changes, and it's just it's very frustrating at times. Like there's a lot of administrative changes, and it just overthrows the entire system, and you have to start from scratch basically, and just kind of update all over again. So I think that's one of the things that you got to remember when you're dealing with the government, and different agencies in the government, because it's just it's quite it requires a lot of patience. Let's just put it that way.
Right. Yeah. So. I'm sure our community members are dying to learn a lot about what's happening in Korea, but we do our best to give updates. So it's it is what it is. Okay, thank you. Do you happen to know about the maybe collaboration with Clayton or Paycoin? Are you involved in that as well, or not so much? So the sort of the rule that we have is that we can't talk about things that we haven't announced, or we there's always a bunch of conversations with different teams or different blockchains. So a lot of ongoing discussion. I'm sure one of our team members are talking with Clayton, but I mean, so far,
no official.
We'll see.
Right.
Not that I know of, but I could be wrong there. Paycoin is a good example of something that I could, share some information, I would say.
Please do.
So, yeah, I mean, because we've already announced, Paycoin is going to be integrating ICX into their app. I mean, we're very close to the Now. The Now, it has been a great partner. They're a long-term, what we consider a long-term partner. So, it's not just going to end with ICX integration into Paycoin. We're actually thinking about a lot of different things, right? So I think it will take a little bit of time for some of those kind of to come into play. Paycoin is interesting because I think, one thing I think people need to understand is that there is talent engineering shortage in Korea right now. It's crazy. There's so much, there's a talent war for engineers. I think just within a year, the salaries of, like junior to senior, like all levels of engineers they've gone up significantly.
Really?
Because everyone is looking for good engineers. So, Icon Loop, we're looking for good people. Paycoin right now is looking for good people to work with. So there's this, talent shortage. So I think things are, I think they're trying their best to deliver on their promise, and I wholeheartedly believe that they will. So, but I think we're just being patient. Paycoin is working hard, so they're providing as much update that they can to us as much, when things are close. So we're just being patient on our side, but it's in the pipeline still, so no worries.
Okay. Yeah, Paycoin is it's been doing really well recently, and Danal, I agree, it's one of the most dominant payment gateway companies in Korea. So I'm sure that there's a lot of opportunities there with Danal. Right. Yeah, just in general. Yeah, it's a big company for sure.
Korea is very interesting. People love conglomerates for some reason. They trust conglomerates. It's
been a thing.
It's very different than the West, where here in the U.S. or outside of the U.S., I think trust for enterprise, or you would, I think like a big company. I mean, we've seen a lot of failed, ICOs, of larger companies, right, in the space. Right. So, but it's interesting how in Korea the mentality is very different, and I don't know. It's very interesting, but I think Paycoin has been doing great. Big respect for them for really pushing the boundaries of getting merchants to accept cryptocurrencies. Yep. Big kudos to them, and I mean we're very supportive. I mean I think a lot of people again think we have partners and we have competitors, we have enemies. That's not true. I mean, I am very supportive of especially a lot of the Korean tokens or Korean projects, crypto projects. I mean, I own a bunch of other Korean crypto projects. Like, I don't even know what some of these guys do, but I just support them because they're Korean projects. So, I think some of them has worked out really well, which I'm happy about. But overall, I mean, I think I'm really pushing for the mentality that we're sort of in this together. I love supporting Paycoin and other, other Korean projects.
Yeah, I really agree with it too, that Paycoin is definitely pushing the boundaries. And within the limitations, like they're, Danal is such a highly regulated, transparent company, right? It's very difficult for them to really try new things. And it's just really impressive that they're doing this. in general. Yeah. So I could literally have talk to you for hours about this topic, but yeah. Yes. Yeah. But we'll push that aside for a little later. So I have, I think for the past like month or so, I had to ask this question for most of the interviewees, which is, the NFT space, right? I'm sure like everyone is looking at the NFT scene, just looking at how exploding that space is now. What's your take on it? Is there anything that you're kind of brewing up, something that you're interested in? Just anything that comes to mind regarding NFTs would be great.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, just by talking with you, before we started this interview on NFTs, honestly, I probably have a lot to learn from you for NFTs. You've been studying up on the space, and I see your tweets and your Facebook, which you've been promoting a lot of the Korean artists, which that's great. I actually have to probably set up another call with you to pick your brains about a little bit about NFTs. In Icon right now, there is another team. Again, this is a team that is in our ecosystem. Mm-hmm. They built a project called Craft Network, and a alpha test version is already out. It's been, I think it looks quite nice. I haven't really played around with the functionalities or the features. It's like, who am I to kind of comment on some of these, because I like I said, I barely.
You're a newbie.
I'm a newbie in this NFT space, but conceptually, I mean, NFTs, even from like 2 years ago, I think CryptoKitties and sort of made NFTs popular, but the way I see it, the future is going to be NFTs. The way I see it is that what internet has done to remove copyright, remove IP from like creators, internet made it super easy to make copies of content and, again, like IPs and things like that. But I think NFTs are here to sort of save internet from, for causing its own issues. So I think NFT is a solution for many different things. For example, if you're, we're in the same, like, similar generation, although I think I'm older than you, but, I used to go out and buy, magazines. I don't know if like kind of the younger generation are probably thinking like, who buys magazines, right? Yeah. I bought comic books. Yeah. Like I actually owned physical, magazines, and I read them. And, sometimes I go into the store and like some of my, favorite magazines, they're sold out. So I have to go to another 7-Eleven to buy to find the same issue.
I remember those times.
Right. But, it's because like there's fixed number of prints, fixed number of authentic magazines, and, you need to kind of get your hands on one of them to say it's yours. That's been sort of the problem with magazines or like kind of media in general. So, I could totally see some of these like magazine like publishers, starting to create like editions. Like they'll create like fixed number of prints, like for example, like I don't know, 10,000 copies that are authentic, made into NFT, so that, if you own this, it might actually be valuable one day, or it's something that you could, keep as a collection for yourself. Make sure that it's authentic, not a copy, right? Right. So it feels like it's like you have ownership over a copy of this. So I actually see, and then there could be a lot of like benefits that there weren't before. Like, we've all heard secondhand sales benefit, where, the publisher could get a cut of the sales whenever it gets transferred, in the future, just like, trading cards or other NFT ideas that we've seen in the market. But that's just one idea of how, media was sort of destroyed by internet. and we could see how the media could be saved by NFTs. Another good example is like tickets. If you think about tickets itself, it's sort of NFTs, because you go to a sporting event or you go to a concert, like every ticket gives you access to the concert, but you also get assigned seating, right? So each one is very unique, although it's like the same concert. And one of the biggest frauds and scams in the internet has been, this fraudulent ticket sales. There's always, fake tickets. I think it's been a big problem with the internet. So you have, sort of the middleman, like StubHub here in the US, where, they authenticate like tickets for you, which is, you don't need that middleman anymore if you have like these NFTs. So another example, but there are so many like art, I think people are just going crazy for art, which is again, like very cool use case. I think my opinion is like, there will always be art. So I would love to get something, but I think things are a little bit overblown at the moment. I think we could all agree, but it's fun. I think it's fun. And I think it's very cool that we're giving a lot of that power back to the creators, being able to do something very creative and be able to monetize. I mean, all the things that you see here today is what blockchain is bringing to the digital industry is amazing, and I am all for that.
Yeah, thanks for that. I totally agree, and we're gonna do another session on NFTs now. It's entirely, blowing up topic, and there's so much to learn from it, and and brainstorm as well. I think that's really it's a good learning experience for all of us.
Right.
Now I think we're almost at the end of the interview, but let's just hit some milestones. Let's talk about some milestones coming up in 2021 and onwards. Let's be a little bit more futuristic now. Let's see. I think a lot of people are curious about like when the private chain will integrate into the public chain. I mean, the Icon Loop integrating to the Icon network. I mean, what's your take on that? Is there any like things that you can share on that behalf, or is it? Yeah, what do you think about that?
So what comes down to is regulations. I mean, that's been a big bottleneck. For us, big hurdle. And I think once Korea kind of goes through the stage of, building or making clear regulation, I think it'll make it a lot easier for us or anybody to make sort of the next move. I mean, we have very strong conversations with Icon Loop and also Icon Loop's partners about bringing some of the digital assets that's currently run on the private blockchain to the Icon network. So there's strong demand for some of those initiatives. I can't go into too many details, but I think it could be a very exciting opportunity. And, I think it will happen sooner or later. It's going to happen. It just takes a lot of time, it just takes time. These enterprise, adoption, and when it comes to regulation, it just takes time. And, it's just that the world doesn't move as fast as, the cryptocurrency space.
That's true. Yeah, and I think when you combine enterprise and regulation, it's just double bottleneck. But okay, thanks for that. People are also curious about any upcoming, I don't know, I'm sure you cannot answer this, but upcoming listings, anything that's, it's been, probably listed anywhere. Yeah. Okay. No. Okay. You're going to close your mouth.
Okay. Let me,
zip.
Yeah. Zip. Actually, I have something interesting for you.
Okay.
Since NFTs, we talked about NFTs. So this is a bottle of liquor. It's a gin.
Okay.
It's called Stin. I imported from Austria.
Wow.
And let's see. So I have a, so what you can do is that, so there's an NFC chip inside of each bottle. And there's a limited edition. This gin is limited edition. So I think they've only produced 1,000 bottles of this.
Wow.
So you could download an app, you could scan it, and you could authenticate that this is a real bottle of, gin on the Icon network. So.
Oh, really?
Wow. Yeah. So one of our community members actually built this. So it's very cool.
Wow.
Yeah, it's called Stin. I don't really drink gin. I guess I'm not used to it, but so I don't have too much things to compare it with, but this is, I think it's very high quality premium gin, and I'm enjoying it. So and the fact that it runs on Icon is a bonus. So
that's definitely, wow, that's so cool. Wow, thanks for sharing that.
But it's an NFT, so there you go.
It's a real life proof of an NFT. So
right, yeah, I should have just brought this out when we were talking about NFT. But I was kind of thinking, and I was just sitting there, so.
It's all good. It's all good. Thanks for sharing that. It's super amazing, and I guess like the person who provided this opportunity, would be very happy to see this interview and to see it like live there, and awesome. Thanks so much. Then so no listings. Is there anything that you can share? Maybe short term, long term milestone that you're considering, that you're planning. Let's think about shorter term, 2021. What are you, trying to hit in terms of milestones? Anything that comes to mind that you can share with us?
Yeah. It's very simple. Right now we're very focused on completing the migration to Icon 2.0. So this is a big upgrade. It's a big task. So it's going to happen this summer, and most of our team members are just working on this migration at the moment. So it's that important. The second part is what I call kind of phase 3, is the BTP implementation. And as I mentioned, the testnet is coming out in May. We have a handful of teams that we're working very closely with. So we'll make those announcements as we kind of go, but it's very exciting. I believe that BTP is a very elegant. We've thought about the design process for a very long time. We're very confident and proud of what we were able to create or design. We just need to kind of build it at this point, and every team that we've talked to are extremely positive about BTP. A lot of people think it's the most elegant interoperability protocol out there. So we're very excited to have this launch and prove it to the world that we have something very special in Icon.
Wow. Oh, amazing things coming up this year. I'm sure that the community will, be very excited, and I'm also, very excited about what's about to come. And yeah, thanks so much for this long interview, and really looking forward to catching up in another session. But yeah, I mean, how was it for you? It kind of brings up memories, right?
It brings a lot, it brings up a lot of memories. I honestly did not have, I didn't know you were doing interviews. I can't believe it took so long for us to chat. So it's really nice, catching up with you. I think, probably we could catch up for hours, but we just kind of have to cut it short. honestly didn't even feel like an interview. It just felt like chatting like we usually do when we meet at conferences. So it's good. It's nice to see you, and good to see that you're doing well.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much for your time. And, you're hard to meet. So looking forward to seeing you in person, San Francisco, hopefully. But thanks so much for your time. Thank you, Min.
Thank you.
Thank
All
you.
right. Bye-bye.
Thanks, Min. Thanks, Min. Good night. Bye-bye.